Right now on News 19 at 11, after a short deliberation, a jury has found Alec Murdaugh guilty on all counts. The 6-week-long double murder trial has come to an end. A look back on the road that led us here, coming up. News 19 starts right now.
The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder. Guilty verdict. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder. Verdict, guilty. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. Verdict, guilty. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. Verdict, guilty.
Today's verdict proves that no one, no matter who you are in society, is above the law.
A swift verdict in the Alec Murdaugh double murder trial tonight as the disgraced former attorney is found guilty of killing his wife Maggie and son Paul some 21 months ago.
The jury started their deliberations around 3:40 this afternoon, and 3 hours later they came back with a guilty verdict on all counts.
Murdaugh now faces 30 years to life in prison for the murders, with sentencing set for 9:30 tomorrow morning. Shortly after the verdict was read, Murdaugh showed little to no emotion. He was then handcuffed and then let out of the courtroom.
Tonight's quick verdict caught a lot of people by surprise. Sam Perez is here to walk us through what that moment was like when the verdict was announced in Walterboro.
People gathered right here on the front lawn of the Colleton County Courthouse in a big crowd as the verdict was read in the Alec Murdaugh double murder trial. I was sitting in the media center with a bunch of other reporters when we saw the TV feed from inside the courtroom have some movement. Instantly, almost every reporter stood up and sprinted across the street to the courtroom. Pretty soon, other people started gathering as they eagerly anticipated the news. I joined a whole crowd of people waiting in the back of the courthouse for the defendant to walk out. There was media, local residents, people who had traveled, all waiting together to see Alec Murdaugh walk out of court after being charged with the murder of his wife and son. People like Walterboro resident Kim Warner were gathered here at the front of the courthouse to hear from Attorney General Alan Wilson and the prosecution team.
It's like a celebration. Like I said, I was at home when I saw the verdict. I live about 5 minutes away, and I got in the car and I'm like, I've got to come down here. This is what I've been waiting for, and I want to be here with everyone.
While other local residents joined her, people also came from far away. Dawn Owen stopped through Walterboro after vacationing in Florida. She was on her way back to Pennsylvania, but then realized how close she was to the murder trial she's been closely following for weeks.
I'm just amazed that it came in 3 hours. I never expected that because it's such a circumstantial case, but I think it's the right verdict.
Murdaugh will be sentenced Friday morning at 9:30. Reporting in Walterboro, Sam Perez, News 19 WLTX.
All right, Sam, thank you. We're also hearing from Prosecutor Creighton Waters tonight and those who have been watching the trial from day one. Rachel Ripp is in Walterboro with that part of the story.
A chaotic scene on the courthouse lawn tonight as dozens of news outlets awaited the verdict, and locals gathered to document the historic decision in South Carolina. After the reading of guilty on all 4 charges, the full prosecution team came out of the courthouse to talk to the public directly for the first time.
Justice was done today. It doesn't matter who your family is. It doesn't matter how much money you have or people think you have. It doesn't matter what you think, how prominent you are. If you do wrong, if you break the law, if you murder, then justice will be done in South Carolina. And I think South Carolina has shown to the nation and the world how a process can work and work well.
Others from near and far, Virginia and right here in Walterboro, had thoughts to share after following along for half a dozen weeks.
I'm just really proud of them for understanding what the prosecution was trying to get, and also Judge Newman and the prosecutors for getting the jury to understand that it didn't have to be definitive, that they could use their common sense to understand all of the evidence and put that together and make a quick and easy decision. It was an easy decision.
I didn't make it inside. I was at home. Had the TV on, was not expecting it to be tonight. I thought maybe they'd wait till tomorrow morning. But no, I was so nervous, just waiting to see what they were going to say and just so hoping it would be guilty. I'm just so proud of the jury because, you know, everybody's been talking and saying, well, it's probably going to be a hung jury. They're probably not going to be able to make a decision. And I'm so thankful that the jury just stepped up and made their decision. And then when the judge asked each one of them individually what their verdict was, and they very loudly each spoke, yes, guilty, yes, guilty.
One woman said something in particular that stood out to me tonight. She said there are no winners here, with the victims not being with us anymore, Alec spending time in jail after this, and the Murdaugh family likely devastated. But there is one thing: closure. Reporting in Walterboro, Rachel Ripp, News 19, WLTX.
Rachel, thank you so much. There were mixed emotions from trial watchers here in Columbia after the verdict came down this evening. News 19's Peyton Lewis continues our team coverage. She was in the Vista and 5 Points getting reaction tonight.
Nightlife in Columbia is normally all about going out with friends, watching a game, and eating good food. But tonight, there was something else on people's minds.
I've been following it on TV.
The trial
all the time.
Over in the Vista, I caught up with Patrick Nagula. He's been watching the trial since the beginning.
I think he was connected in that counties and in that particular small town, and that pretty much helped probably to hide some of those things that the people in the public, they should have known before all of this happened.
But others like Karen and Andy Thomas are from Hampton and grew up around the Murdaugh family. They both said they knew exactly what the verdict would be.
I'm very surprised that he was found guilty.
And one man we spoke with in 5 Points says he's just happy it's over.
Because you know why? Because my girlfriend has been watching it for 24/7. All right, and it drives me crazy. I already knew the verdict, the guy's guilty.
But one thing all of the people we spoke with could agree on was how quickly the jury was able to decide.
2 hours maybe, and they had a verdict.
I was not surprised.
It took an hour and a half.
Reporting in Columbia, Peyton Lewis, News 19, WLTX.
I'm here at USC's campus where some say they've been following the Murdaugh family for years. Most tuned into the verdict on their phones, some streamed it on TV, others binge-watched documentaries just days before the trial ended. Almost everybody I spoke to, though, says they weren't surprised by the jury's decision.
Yeah, since the Mallory thing happened, I mean, everyone in Beaufort's been known about the family and the whole case. It's like when you finish a show, you like got this relief on you. But it's more of a, it's just weird.
Nervous for what it was going to be. I mean, it's a huge trial going on, but I mean, I was pleased with it. I think a lot of people are pleased, yeah.
Alec and Buster didn't really have any like physical like sadness or anger. They were really indifferent about it.
I feel like throughout the whole time, like him as like a lawyer, like he was trying to answer the questions as like
he knew how to
he knew
like politically correctly answer them. So then it made it more interesting to me.
In Columbia, I'm Nate Stanley, News 19, WLTX.
Well, once again, the Palmetto State was warm, it was humid, with just a little bit of rainfall. Now, unofficially this morning, Columbia Metropolitan Airport started off a low of 67, ended with a high of 73. Right now over Williams-Brice Stadium, though, we've got overcast skies, 64 degrees, humidity 93%. It is horribly humid. Not many showers at all in the Midlands, a few scattered around in the upstate, but here comes more rain that's coming out of Georgia, and we're going to be expecting some of us overnight tonight and in the morning deal with a few showers. We'll have a low of 60 degrees. Tomorrow we're going to reach a high of 82. It is going to be quite windy, though. Southwest winds gusting up to 40 miles an hour. Showers with maybe a few evening storms that could be strong, but those storms should be ending by tomorrow night as I reach a low of 56. We're tracking those storms in your forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Whatever was going on in his mind, his world's collapsing. It's coming down. All these world is coming down financially. He's confronted that day by somebody's law firm. Where's this check? He's got another hearing coming up. It's a motive. Don't have to have it. But yeah, it's there. And is this rational? You remember when he said that? Is that rational? Was it rational to be on the side of the road and claim you're shot? And when you're in the ambulance, And now watch this if you need to, and you're talking to the officer in the ambulance, and you say, what happened? Oh, by the way, he wanted to kill himself, he called 911. He called 911. When he told the officer in the ambulance, well, what happened? Well, some guy shot me. He even did a sketch. He faked the sketch. But what did he tell the guy in the ambulance? It sounded like a shot.
Well, you just heard from John Meadors there, delivering a lot of emotion in his closing arguments for the prosecution today. We spoke with two criminal defense attorneys tonight who say Meadors' performance in court today may have been the deciding factor for jurors.
Closings, that was the deal breaker here today. Closings yesterday by Creighton, and then finishing it up, hitting that, bringing them in for that RBI was John Meadors here today. There was, Creighton, while it was long, it was organized. He had his trilogy. He went, means, motive, opportunity. And today we had no organization from the defense. I was looking forward to the defense's closing arguments today, and I was really let down. And I think that showed when John Meadors got up there and threw everything he had at that jury emotionally, and it didn't take him long after that.
If you'd like to see Taylor Bell's and Lori Murray's complete legal analysis regarding tonight's verdict, we have it for you right now on our YouTube page or on our website. That's WLTX.com.
And still ahead tonight, we have more coverage coming your way outside of the Colleton County Courthouse. We'll check in with our team for more. That's after this short break.
Well, our team has been in Walterboro now since the beginning of this trial back in January. It actually started back on January the 23rd.
Our Sam Perez and Rachel Ripp have been down there and are still in Walterboro tonight, right outside of that Colleton County Courthouse. Sam, Rachel, we had 6 weeks of testimony, more than 800 pieces of evidence. Was there a lot of surprise when the jury verdict came back so soon?
Oh my goodness, Darcy, JR, yes, I was really surprised. So like you said, we started this, we got here in January, and now it's March. And so we've listened to so much witness testimony. We've seen so much evidence. So I know, at least for me, I was surprised when it only took the jury a matter of hours to come to their decision.
Yeah, I have to agree with Sam. I think that hour, just a few hours, I mean, it was not even 4 hours that they came to that decision. It was very concise, and I know that a lot of those jurors towards the very end, they looked very tired, some not paying attention as much. So some of them might have wanted to just wrap up that process and get to that decision quickly.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point. I think seeing the jury's reactions, I know I at least noticed when I was in the courtroom, which wasn't every day, but it was a lot of the days, just sitting in there and seeing the jury's reactions. For me, I feel like a lot of them were kind of checked out of the process at some points. And I don't know, what was your impression of that?
Yeah, I would say definitely, there were a few jurors here and there, very checked out, like you said. There were some that I noticed, though, that were pretty consistently engaged throughout the whole process. There was one juror in that first row. He was asking for, them to zoom in on the screen when they were showing pictures, different amounts of maybe money receipts or anything like that. So he was, very, very into it.
Absolutely. I think it was a mixed bag. That's also what I noticed. And what I noticed additionally was that I would say when it came for the rebuttal, when the prosecution brought in those 6 different witnesses, that was earlier this week, when they brought in those 6 different witnesses to directly address the witness testimony that happened in the defense's case, I feel like that's when I noticed jurors really perk up. Now, if we remember, that's when things got a little fiery between Ronnie Crosby and Dick Harpootlian, when they were kind of going back and forth. And I think that was Monday of this week. And I think that kind of, for jurors, at least from watching the reactions, it seemed that they realized this was crunch time. They knew that closing arguments were coming both from the defense and the prosecution. And to me, that's when I noticed kind of everyone in terms of the jury really perk up and start to pay attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, definitely some of those, I feel like, key points in those closing arguments just throughout the trial for, both the defense and the prosecution. With the prosecution, I think what really stood out to me was them questioning those steps that Alec had before leaving for Alameda, leaving for his mom's house, and also the fact that, he didn't just call Maggie or Paul, or instead of how he called Maggie and Paul, he could have just, walked down that driveway, saw what they were up to. As for the defense, I think they had a very consistent theme of, poking holes in the sled investigation, everything like that. But what did you think?
Absolutely. I think the prosecution and the defense just, they really were going against each other. And the common factor was they both asked the jury to use their common sense to come to a verdict. Obviously, they were hoping for different end results, but ultimately it seems like the jury was able to do that and come to a decision pretty quickly. So it's been a crazy 6 weeks here.
It has.
But we're going to continue bringing you that coverage as we go into tomorrow with the sentencing. So for now, Darcy and JR, back to you.
All right, Rachel, Sam, thank you. Yes, sentencing for Murdaugh gets underway at 9:30 in the morning. You can watch it live right here on News 19 or on our social media platforms, including WLTX Plus, our YouTube page, or on our website. That's WLTX.com.
And if you want to watch analysis of the trial from our legal experts or check out any of our in-depth coverage, we now have an Alec Murdaugh section on our free WLTX Plus app, which you can download on your Roku or your Amazon Fire.
Well, earlier this evening, some of us, not all of us in the Midlands, got a little bit of very light showers. It's been light at worst, but it's cleared up at least since 8 o'clock this evening. It is warm. It's really warm. 61 in the northern Midlands, 63 for Bishopville and Manning, 64 in Orangeburg. St. Matthews is at 65 degrees. And if you haven't stepped outside yet, ew. It is really humid out there, 90 to 100% humidity, and it's not raining a drop. Well, we've been watching some significant storms. Severe thunderstorms and tornado warnings have been going on in the Arklatex and into Oklahoma. All of that is just from today. Remember, yesterday it was in Mississippi. This entire region, all the way through the state of Mississippi, is under a risk for more severe weather for tonight. Well, all of this is involving this weather complex here. Very strong southerly winds just feeding into this front, and all of that is going to be making its way towards South Carolina. In fact, as we get into tomorrow, the eastern half of the southeast is under risk for severe weather. But for us, at least we're starting to dodge a bullet, because slight chance for severe weather in the upstate and maybe parts of the northwest Midlands. We're looking at the possibility of maybe a few strong storms. So in the coming hours, we'll see more rain come in. It's not going to be a lot, and it should be out of here by about 8 to 9 o'clock. We'll get that small break, but as we get into noon, we'll start seeing some sprinkle of showers. Into the early afternoon, though, we're going to see some robust storms in the upstate. So this is going into the early evening. As we get to about 7 to 8 o'clock, we'll see this line marching through, and it is going to be moving very quickly. So this is where we're expecting the wind gusts to be at least 40 miles an hour. But notice, we get to 11 o'clock, it's already pushing out of the Midlands, and by 2 o'clock, it's out of here and the skies are clear. So in the morning, we're looking at low temperatures to start off in the upper 50s to low 60s. As we get into tomorrow, high temperatures will be in the upper 70s, but mostly in the low to mid 80s. And again, keep in mind, it is going to be very windy. Nice weekend, beautiful weekend, sunny and dry. Saturday 74, high of 70 on Sunday, 76 on Monday. It'll be partly sunny and a little bit windy on Tuesday to get up to 81, but with a slight chance for showers both Wednesday and Thursday afternoon. The temperatures are noticeably cooler, 68 Wednesday, 63 Thursday. Stay with us. Sports Director Reggie Anderson is up right after this break.
And now, the Lexington Medical Center Sports Desk.
All right, high school hoops, the biggest stage is taking place down in Aiken. It is state championships. This week we'll have a total of 10 champions crowned when it's all said and done come Saturday night. Let's head down for this day one of championship action. Irmo, the Yellow Jackets, taking on Lancaster in the 4A boys contest. First quarter action, Brandon Crawford, fadeaway jumper, 4 points, 8 rebounds for him in the first half as Irmo really took control in a big way. Now watch Jonathan White. He misses from mid-range, but it's followed right back in by Madden Collins. He had 9 first half points, led the way with for Irmo with 16. Second quarter, it's White again from long range. This time a much better result. Irmo up 32-9 at halftime. Incredible first half performance by the Yellow Jackets. Third quarter, Crawford finds a cutting A.J. Brand. Yellow Jackets up big. And then Crawford to Madden. And then back to Crawford. The alley-oop finish puts the Jackets up 18. 12 points for Crawford. 14 rebounds and 6 blocks as well. And Tim Whipple, how about this? Earns state championship number 6. 58-45 the final. How about that? Legendary coach. First state title for Irmo since 2013.
I've said it before, you know, I've been here and it's fun every single time and special, but for these guys, this is the first time. So it's extremely special, and I'm so excited for them and happy for them because they deserve this. They worked so hard, kept their focus the entire year, and were rewarded not just by getting here, but taking home the trophy.
You know, we had to work through some difficulties. We had challenges, we had hardships, but we got through it. At the end, we got through it. We climbed the mountain, and we got there.
I don't know how many more we'll ever be able to go to, so I'm doing my best to enjoy this one. And I wanted all of them to know how much I was enjoying it.
4A girls action, Westwood making the school's first appearance in the state championship game in any sport, taking on a North Augusta team looking for its 5th state title in the last 7 seasons. Jessica Woods doing her part for the Red Hawks. She drops it in for 2. And the Westwood cheerleaders, part of a large Red Hawk contingent that made its way down to Aiken. It's Woods again, the senior leading Westwood with 10 points, but North Augusta a little too strong on this night as it made the short drive to Aiken and comes away with the 4A state title. 42-29 the final. A great run by Westwood ends with a runner-up finish.
Are we disappointed? Of course, but we certainly don't have anything to hang our heads about. I'm sure there's a lot of coaches tonight who would love to be standing in this same interview, even if they would have lost this game. So we're just proud, and we'll just learn from it and kind of go from there.
College hoops, Francis Marion Jr. center Lauren Taylor has been named the Conference Carolinas Player of the Year. Quite the honor for the Spring Valley grad, who leads the league in scoring, and she's 3rd in rebounding. Lauren's a big reason why the Patriots will take an 18-game winning streak into the postseason. So Lauren Taylor, proud mother, making the numerous trips to Florence to watch her daughter in action. Lauren Taylor, the Conference Carolinas Player of the Year. And we will be right back.
So again, recapping the big story tonight, Alec Murdaugh found guilty, 2 counts of murder for his wife, Maggie, and his son, Paul. Sentencing set for 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Minimum sentence on the murder charges, 30 years in prison.
30 years to life is what he could face tomorrow morning. Again, members of the victim's family, which also happens to be the defendant's family, will be speaking to the judge in the morning, stating why they believe Alec Murdaugh should get whatever sentence they believe he should get. And our crews, they are there, and they will be there tomorrow to bring you live team coverage of whatever happens in Walterboro.
That's going to do it for News 19 at 11. We'll see you again early tomorrow morning.
See a story you loved? Watch it again right now on WLTX Plus, available on Roku and Fire TV.